All right. Thanks everyone for jumping on. Excited to get this most current or the first community call recording for LeagueDAO for 2022 underway. So to get things started, I figured I'd give us a little cold open. If anyone wants to, I think if anyone wants to share what I was going to do their 2021 fantasy football biggest busts, but I feel like that's just too negative. So I'll give everyone to give a chance of their biggest surprises, the sleepers or the waiver wire picks that they did not see coming that really helped them for the 2021 fantasy football season.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I traded for Jamar Chase, and I traded the Lions running back. I really wanted Jonathan Taylor when I started drafting, but I just didn't get him. And I auto drafted Zeke, so like I was way under on receivers since it was a 3-receiver league. So I ended up trading Swift for Jamar Chase. The best waiver wire pickup I had was definitely Cordero Patterson, but I got fucked in the end of the season when I lost because honestly this season was interesting. I'm like almost gonna draft so we did an auction format, and when you do the auction format you want to like assume that like a lot of your bench players will never get playing time, but the COVID thing is going to change my whole draft strategy because like I lost on Cooks on the final game of the season, and I tried to get a Quantimus St. Brown or whatever, but I just didn't even think anybody was like trying to get him at that point. So I didn't bid enough. So if I had just bid all the money, he put up like 30 points, I would have won that game. And then Chase put up like 55 points the next game. So like literally that decision of going cheap on the waiver wire when there weren't any, like, dude, I had like $70. I should have just spent all $70 on the guy. Like,
Totally.
there's no reason to be frugal at that point. So, but I underestimated the effects of COVID. And so next year, if COVID is still like breaking out when the football season starts, I'm probably going to go more for depth than I did for normally. You want like block players, like you want to bid up for good players. It was my first year doing auctions.
Yeah, same here.
But COVID really fucked me in the end there. So
Yeah,
it's what it is.
I mean,
but that's what bothers me though. It wasn't COVID. I can't blame
just
that.
injuries in general.
If I had followed the Brandon Cooks thing closer, I would have actually. So that was part of why I didn't bid so much on Equanimous St. Brown, or however the hell you say his name.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's what it is.
His brother is Equanimous St. Brown.
Okay, I forgot. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think there's a Pharaoh too.
So big, they have some crazy ass names. But yeah, basically like, because I didn't know that Brandon Cooks was going to be hurt, and I lost the game by like 2 points, right? So like even with having like a dud on my roster, but like he checked out of COVID right before the game. Had I known that that Brandon Cooks was going to be out, I would have just aped into him because he was the best receiver on the waiver wire. So basically, I think even there at the end of the year, like just being busy with everything, I think that the lack of attention on that probably cost me. So I can't blame it on COVID. I didn't even know that like Cooks was on the protocol, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest, so I mean, it's a toss up for me. One between Michael Pittman, who I picked up for $1 in the draft, was like the last receiver I picked up, and I had a feeling he was gonna get a chance to like really become the lead guy, and was pretty like really consistent throughout the year. And then, I mean, I know I paid a lot for him in the very beginning, but Elijah Mitchell, even though he was out for a bit, like getting on the waiver wire to be able to get like a solid RB1 who really commanded carries whenever he was healthy. Those were probably the two biggest surprises for me, like positive surprises.
Mine was definitely Cooks in regards to the draft, like what I paid versus what I got. Like, well, and Gronk. I paid $1 for Gronk, but Gronk was out half the season. The only game that Cooks really cost me, like he got COVID. So like it's not like he got injured or he's injury prone. Like, and one of the reasons I did it is a lot of people think of Cooks as inconsistent, and he sort of is in regular fantasy, but like a secret is he's actually like a PPR god, because he'll get 6 catches for 60 yards a game, and then some games like he'll get like 200 yards, like he'll just like go off, right? So like you're either getting like 12 points with Cooks or you're getting like 35 points with Cooks. But like in a regular league, you either get 6 points with Cooks or you get like 20 something points with Cooks. So like I really paid attention to the PPR aspect of it, and I think that a lot of the PPR guys were undervalued, and like I'll carry that forward next season. Like one player that I think that a lot of people probably don't realize won them a lot of games, that did just kind of secretly by putting up more points as a rookie that they wouldn't have noticed. Because like Jamar Chase got all the limelight, but like Jalen Waddle still had 90 receptions, right? Like he broke the rookie reception record. So he's going to become the new Cooks, like during his career, that he's inconsistent. And same thing, six receptions, 660 yards is a consistent 12 points. But then he's also so fucking fast that he's going to have 150, 180 yard games with 4 catches. So like Jalen Waddle, the PPR aspect makes some of these more inconsistent speed demon receivers actually more consistent. And I would say the same thing was happening with Ruggs, that he was putting up 16 points a game on PPR formats, but he was putting up 8 points a game. But obviously he's never playing in the league again. So like, I think that I'm going to look at how I treat the consistency of the speed demons in PPR leagues, and really pay attention to like their targets and how much they catch it. Because ultimately, if we like when we renewed the Genesis format, there's 3 wide receivers. The wide receivers actually ended up being more important than the running backs. And part of that was because the running backs didn't have the season, you know, like that, and hit like Derrick Henry was out for 2 months and he's still like number 6 in every category. And I went out of my way to try to target him, but I didn't draft in the beginning. I ended up with Zeke, and Zeke ended up being one of the most like consistent running backs. Alvin Kamara kind of got fucked because of the Saints offense and like Jameis going down. Saquon Barkley, I mean, is he ever going to have a healthy season? Same with Christian McCaffrey. Like Dalvin Cook, he had a great season, but would you draft him next year? He can tear his ACL on a single turn. Chubb's always pretty consistent. So like, I think that because of the fact that the running backs are so like either going to win you the season or lose you the season, you're kind of better off going like to make sure that you get like 5 good $10 receivers than like 1 good $50 running back. Other than, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I feel like I should have reached for him because I wanted to pay 35 for him and he went for 50. And obviously I should have just bought him for 50, right?
But yeah, I mean, Taylor was a good one. And Najee Harris is the other. I mean, it's the younger running backs that get like majority of the touches that are the best value
on those teams,
because those ones are like they have the best chance of staying healthy all year. Like Najee Harris was huge this year because especially in PPR because he got so many. They incorporate him in the passing game so much.
Same with Damian Harris. But he had inconsistency. He was out a lot of games. He was COVID. He had a sprained ankle for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like, I also think that there's something that I guess I realized this season that I never really thought about before was, other than the Derrick Henry situation, which he was out 2 months and like he's already back, like he just hasn't really missed a lot of time in his career. I do think that like the power back type players, they seem to get injured less because like I would almost say that running backs over 230 pounds are more consistent in fantasy football, where like next year, I think a lot of people will go for Jonathan Taylor just because of his like performance this year. But like Jonathan Taylor's like, well, he actually is big. He's 225.
Well, I
But-
think James Conner's an interesting to what you're saying. Like, he's a bigger guy, and like, but also those are guys that get red zone opportunities. Like, who's gonna actually get the ball in the like last like 5 yards? And like, James Conner just like put up so many touchdowns, and
Well, James Conner has had injuries in his career,
Yeah.
but some of that is like the dude also had like fucking cancer and like he's had a very interesting career,
Yeah.
but like I feel like the consistency and injury of power backs, I guess backs over 230, they seem to be at like the end of the season, like the ones who were still there.
yeah,
Maybe above 225, right? And like you have to have some that you pull out like that, like the Marshawn Lynch's that are like 215, but they're just meat sticks, right? Like I guess I'm just saying these like unproportionally strong, like they don't only play with like the speed game. They're not like, you can almost think of it as like you can run a zone run or you can run like a power run. And so what a zone run does is the line spreads at the zone. Like it means that like the defense is coming in and you have a zone that you're responsible for. Power run works more like man-to-man in basketball, where you're like, I'm just gonna, like, my only job this play on the offensive line is to destroy this motherfucker. And all I have to worry about is this under tackle, or all I have to worry about is this edge threat. And so the schemes that have like these bulkier, like the Cowboys run a power run, the Steelers run a power run, the Browns, they kind of mix it up, but they normally are running power runs. The Cardinals, they run a power run, even though they have like the Ravens run a power run. And the Ravens, that running back actually surprised me, but he got hurt, right? But those like, I don't know, like the running backs, like how much is Ezekiel Mitchell weigh? Like he's a perfect example because they drafted Sermon, who was supposed to be this big ass running back, but they ended up with
Eli Mitchell. Yeah.
Is that what his name is? Ezekiel Mitchell or Eli?
No, it's Eli.
Elijah.
Yeah.
It's Elijah Mitchell.
But he's definitely a power back for sure. Like,
but he's 200 pounds.
Yeah, if you read about him, it's interesting. A lot of people talk about how like he's not that big, but feel like when you like hit him, it feels like you're hitting someone twice his size.
So
like,
he's like
just certain, like there's certain guys that just have that, like, I don't know what it is, density.
I'm just kind of comparing it to like a Dalvin Cook or a Christian McCaffrey or even an Alvin Kamara, that like nobody's like scared to get hit by those guys. And so they try to hit the hell out of those guys. And over the course of a season, you have these skinny running backs that move around a lot. Well, if they get smacked one time, their season's over. Where like, I think that they try to like tackle these big dudes more conservatively. And like Derrick Henry's Cam Newton's a perfect example of this. Nobody wanted to get hit by Cam Newton. He wasn't out there juking. He was just running people over.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe it's a whole thing for the whole league, that it's moving more towards a more powerful offense. Yeah. But
all right, let's get the call moving. Yeah, maybe I'll do a little bit of editing.
No, we love fantasy football.
On
you should keep it on there. Action shows.
All right, so I'll give just some quick updates for everyone watching and just a larger kind of protocol updates. One, if you didn't catch it, we launched the league airdrop claim theory before the holidays. So if you were eligible either as an early Discord member or you minted a crypto fantasy team or normal player token and are eligible for one of those airdrop pools, you can go and claim your airdrop, but make sure to take a look. There's a game around it where if the full airdrop vests over 52 weeks. If you claim early, you only claim a portion of those tokens and the rest redistributes to the rest of the pool. So check that out if you haven't already, because I know we kind of fit that in before the end of the year. So some people might have missed it. Also, I know a lot of people use different wallets and you might not be checking all of your wallets every day. Before the holidays, we also did an airdrop to, I think there were something around 280 people who are actively participating in the Nomo Football League. We actually swept the floor of polymorph NFTs, the polymorphs, and did an airdrop to about a third of those people. So check your wallet if you have actually, have been participating and have players staked in the Nomo Football League, because you might have a polymorph NFT in that wallet, because we sent those airdrops. That was another one that we did before the end of the year. And then the last one on a new small giveaway we've got going on, or we'll be launching in Discord. So it'll just be via Discord only. We've been working with, and there's a lot of synergies with the Knights of Degen community. A number of the sort of founders and the guys leading that project are contributors and early supporters of LeagueDAO. And we've had a number of the Knights of Degen kind of community come in and be a part of LeagueDAO and join in our protocols. So we've did a small initiative where we basically, it's kind of like DAO to DAO cooperation, where Knights of Degen, they're buying, I think it's about 5 ETH worth of League tokens to hold on to a stake for that community. So they have a piece in LeagueDAO. And then we went and used some funds from the treasury to buy an equivalent 5 ETH worth of Knights of Degen, their NFTs. And if you aren't familiar with Knights of Degen, look them up, get in their Discord. They do a lot of cool stuff and have there's just a lot of alignment with their community and ours and what they're doing in sports and fantasy and all that sort of stuff. So definitely check it out. But we're going to do a giveaway of a couple of the Knights of Degen NFTs that we bought for the treasury. We're going to give away a couple of them. So that'll be in the Discord over the next couple of days. And maybe with that, I'll also use this time to introduce Ben, who's on the call, who has been on ones before. Ben's come on as our community manager to help us out with Discord and just keeping the engagement going with everyone, answering questions, all that stuff. And Ben, if you want to give an intro or just a small shout out.
Sure. Yeah, no, happy to be here with you guys, and looking forward to a really good 2022, expanding LeagueDAO and just growing with the community, and just really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to have you aboard. And for anyone listening in, Ben was an early part of the community and remained active in the Discord. And when we got to a point where we felt like, especially heading into 2022, we wanted to bring on someone to help us with community management. The first thing we wanted to do and did was look to the community and find people who were already engaged and knew what was going on, excited about what we're doing, and he jumped out to us. And so we're excited to bring him on in a more official capacity to help the team out.
Really excited.
Awesome. Yeah. So, all right. I know oftentimes these calls are just a lot of me talking, and apologies for that. But I wanted to give an update on the Genesis League. It's something that, we talked about this at the beginning, but it's important, I think, to bring up for people that are watching that might not be familiar with what that is, because it isn't sort of one of the active protocols that we have right now. When we started LeagueDAO, part of what we did was we created a private, sort of a closed buy-in fantasy league, sort of like meta fantasy league, fantasy football league, that we called the Genesis League. And we used that to help bootstrap LeagueDAO and get it off the ground. And we had about 60 different teams participating in 5 different divisions of 12 teams. And so when you hear us talking about the draft and the teams and all that sort of stuff, oftentimes what we're talking about is is the Genesis League. And one thing that's important is so the Genesis League wrapped last couple weeks ago. I guess it was week 17. It wrapped up, and just for the full season, I mean, we ended up paying out over $300,000 in prizes to participants of the Genesis League. So that's a lot of money, and it was a big success for us. And looking at 2022 and the next football season, one of our core initiatives and things that we're going to be putting time into and dev resources behind is setting up and really expanding on the Genesis League to create Genesis League version 2, which will be bigger basically and allow more people to participate in it. But it's really taking a more traditional season-long head-to-head fantasy football league, but doing it in a way where we can scale it and have hundreds of thousands of different participants competing for a large prize pool. And that's where we're using Web3 as like that infrastructure behind the scenes, managing dues, prizes, all that stuff. So it's still, the technology is still aligned with us, but we see it as a big way to bring more people into the LeagueDAO ecosystem that might not be sort of, degens or crypto native. And we're really excited about that. So you'll hear us talking about more and more talking about the Genesis League, and hear that coming up more and more as we kind of give more information as to what that's going to look like and how you're going to be able to get involved for the next football season. All right, and then I'll just jump into Nomo quickly. To wrap up the football season, even though actually the Nomo league is continuing through the playoffs because it's individual player based, and so players are still able to earn rewards based on how they play if they're playing in the playoffs. So don't just sort of tune out because the regular season is done, because it's going to keep going. But I wanted to just give some quick stats on the first season of Nomo for anyone listening in, because I think it's interesting to take into account when we think about the growth and what we're doing with LeagueDAO. So the total supply of players, for context, right? We only minted, it's only 1,792 player tokens available in total, because we did 1-for-1 of players in the NFL. Right now, as of today, there are 1,439 player tokens staked in the league. So that's, vast majority of the actual tokens are being used in the fantasy league. So, I mean, that's a pretty cool stat. So the people that bought them and are participating are actually also playing in the game. They didn't just pick them up to speculate. And they're earning DAI based on, with that participation. Right now, there are 280 different teams. So it's 280 different wallets that hold Nomo tokens that are players that are actually staked in the league. So considering, we launched all this August, we launched the Nomo League, I think in November. I'm really happy with that result, to have 280 different people participating and actually using the app. That's been great. The actual reward pool for the NFL is, as of today, $452,000. And for anyone not familiar with how we do this, the reward pool is the funds collected from the sale of the Nomo player tokens. We don't just pay that out each week. We actually stake it in a DeFi protocol to generate yield. And the yield is what gets paid out as rewards each week. So the pool over the off season, right, is going to continue to generate more yield and compound. So when Nomo NFL 2022 starts, the reward pool is going to be significantly higher, which means the overall rewards and the yield that people were competing for is going to be higher too. And then, so, season after season, it's going to continue to grow. So it's another reminder for people that are involved in early adopters, and, hold on to your player tokens, or, there's actually still, I think, around 70 player tokens still available to mint. And in that pool, it includes Brandon Cooks, Derrick Henry. Those are still players that are still on the table. But so it's, the prizes are only going to get bigger. And that's not including other stuff that we're going to be doing to incentivize and, bring value to the early Genesis, Nomo League supporters and users. And then one last update, and we'll send more information and some more like when we have an official date, but the team's been working hard on the Nomo Basketball League. I know it's, we're well into the season, but each of these seasons and leagues that we launch is, there's a lot of development that has to happen to launch the basketball league separate from the football league. And we're doing our due diligence, making sure the smart contracts are tested and working well and audited, and also incorporating updates to the whole protocol based on the feedback that we got from the football league. So we're not just sort of just spinning up another sport. We're actually making some pretty big changes that I think will enhance the overall game for everyone. So that's why it's taking a little longer, but all things are looking good, and we'll have an official launch date for that season probably in the next week that we'll share. And so we're excited to get that going. And like I said, the dev team and everyone's working hard on the updated smart contracts for the basketball season and all the APIs and scoring and player tokens and all that fun stuff. So a lot of good stuff there. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over so it's not just me talking for more. So I'll hand it to Nate to give an update on Crypto Fantasy and what's going on there.
Hey guys, so Crypto Fantasy has, we've been doing a lot of work since we launched the first iteration. Just accidentally muted myself. To give some high level numbers similar to Jake, we're at just about 4,000 teams minted, and about 600 owners own those 4,000 teams who are playing the games every day. And I think to date, we have given out, I believe it's 73 Ether. So a lot of people made a lot of money, which is fun. And one of the things that I think we were very curious about when the season started, and we weren't sure which way it was going to go, was, are teams going to continuously be the top team and the bottom team or the middle teams? And it turns out there's actually been very few repeat team winners. So most of the rewards have been first-time rewards for a team. And it's also been very interesting on some teams who you would look at them and be like, oh, this is potentially a bottom dweller. Turns out to be the opposite. And on a week-to-week basis, anything can happen. And if you look, especially with COVID this year, with a lot of teams missing players any given week, I mean, the high score this week was a team that when it was minted, probably no one thought it would ever place in the top 5, and it ended up being the high score, right? Like it had Amon Ra, and came out of nowhere, and it had all these players, and like it ended up being a team who had everybody play, which very few teams at this point in the season had, especially in week 18. And so just kind of fun how any given week anything can happen, which is very analogous to, I think, football, any given Sunday. That being said, some big updates on our end. This week, we're actually planning on deploying the DApp related to this. So you'll be able to connect your wallet on the site. It won't be statically updated after each round of games. It'll actually be real live time scoring. You'll be able to connect your wallet. It'll pull up all of the different NFTs that you have. You'd be able to search through them if you have a ton, or if you just have a few, you can see them right away. And you'll also see all the leaderboards in real time, and all the people who have rewards, and you'd be able to kind of look at them and see if you want to make purchases or offers on those throughout the day. So that's exciting. The other thing that we've been working on in the background is a version 2 for Crypto Fantasy. So a lot of changes that we've taken from just learning and seeing how this first iteration went. This was definitely kind of like a beta version, and we've learned a lot from the community and just seeing it play out. Some of the big features that are coming in there are that we're taking a page out of polymorphs, and so there'll be a scrambling function where when you get your team originally, you'll be able to say, hey, I actually want to change either one player, some of the players, all the players, that's up to you, or not. And you can pay a nominal fee to do that. And then the other big thing that we're going to do is it's going to be a bigger roster, and you'll only play, the top 8 players like you have now. And so each week it'll make it a little closer to normal fantasy football, and we're going to have a start-sit component. So each week you can say, hey, I want to play this person or that person. And a big part of that is, we wanted to make this more and more like the fantasy football that everybody's used to. And I think one thing that everybody loves doing, and it becomes super fun, I think, during the playoffs in fantasy specifically, is kind of like sweating on those start-sits. Like, do I play Jared Patterson, who hasn't started a game all season and is a backup's backup, ends up having 20 points? Or do I play, DeAndre Swift, who the coach said he's going to, let loose and ends up having 5 points and ends up, losing me my fantasy championship? And so those are kind of the big news coming on crypto fantasy side. So pretty excited where things are going. And just looking forward to all the, the more and more we get to do. So it's definitely gone further and been more exciting than I ever thought when we started this 18 weeks ago.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a huge upgrade to the protocol, because I think the biggest feedback that we got was, as with the version 1, people seeing players getting hurt and things like that, where they sort of felt like, well, I'm stuck with these guys. What do I do? And adding in the morphing and the game element to it, where you can change and swap out players and, make that decision of whether or not it's worth it or not. I think that'll just add a whole another element to sort of strategy and involvement for everyone. So really excited for that.
Exactly. I'm stoked. So the more gameplay and mechanics that we add, just the better this is going.
Yeah.
I mean, like every year, this is just going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Now moving on. Gonna hand it over to the team from Lime Chain that are that are building our March Madness or NCAA bracket protocol that we're really excited for and is well underway. So I don't know, Stoyan, if you want to give an update on where we are with development of that.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Stoyan from Lime Chain. We're very excited. We start working on March Madness project last year. The basic concept here is that we're trying to create a bracket with all prediction of the user, which will be minted as NFTs. The user will be able to mint as much as he wants predictions. So the price of this bracket token will go towards the winning pool. And yeah, at the end of each round, the user will be able to change his prediction, of course, of only of its eligible teams that the correct score, the correct winner is selected. So as I said, we start working last week of the last year, and currently most of the contracts, basic contracts, are ready. I mean, for the minting and updating the bracket results. We made a very strict planning because here we cannot delay any of the developments, since the start of this tournament is strict, and we plan to finish this maybe at mid of February. So any task regarding testing and auditing the contracts could be completed on time, so everything on this tournament to be ready and the user will be able to make their predictions.
Awesome. Thanks for that update. Yeah, we're really excited for this because, users will be able to go fill out their bracket and, either manually pick out the winners or, randomize a bracket, etc. And then to enter and officially lock in the bracket, you mint it as an NFT. And then that allows our whole smart contract infrastructure and Web3 infrastructure that we've built to, handle the scoring and points and prize distribution and things like that. So, this is another big step forward in terms of our larger development suite and technology, and being able to have a protocol for these types of tournaments also opens up a lot of doors for us beyond just the NCAA basketball tournament. You have World Cup, you also have esports tournaments and different types of gaming. Like, there's a lot of things that this allows us to do, and so I think we're all really excited for this, and I mean, also just excited for the NCAA tournament in general, which is always a lot of fun. Awesome. So with the time we have left, because those are the big protocol updates, I think one of the things that it's something we've been talking about more and more is, we're kind of looking at like all these different things that we're building that kind of feel like they're these separate kind of distinct platforms and games, and how do they all kind of funnel and feed into a larger initiative. And it's something that I think is the core team, but also with input and feedback from the community, are going to continue to iterate around and what that actually means and what we're going. But I think it's important to see if you're thinking, you heard these updates for all these different things, Nomo, Crypto Fantasy, Genesis League, March Madness, what do they all have to do with each other? And I think the key point, I think, for all of us is, everything that we're building is an iterative step towards really like a fully fleshed out and realized kind of Web3 fantasy gaming experience. And there's so many different elements to that each of our protocols actually kind of takes on a different piece, whether it's teams and roster management, or tokenizing individual players, or having the infrastructure and Oracle to be able to pull off-chain sports data and have it inform on-chain points and scoring and rewards. All of this stuff kind of comes together to help us get to kind of this, what we've kind of internally been calling the North Star, but whatever that is, and we'll have more information on it. But I wanted to just kind of maybe use this to wrap up the call, just as a reiterate and kind of give anyone listening kind of an understanding that we're not just building all these things randomly and sort of in silos because we think they're cool. Like, they do actually feed into a larger vision for where LeagueDAO is going to end up. So I don't know if anyone else on the call has anything they want to say on that.
I think I'm just going to go ahead and say that we have this overarching vision for where these all are going to fuse together. And we're still crafting out how to do that from a legal perspective. And we're still crafting out how to do that. We have the ideas for technicals for it. But right now, we're just going ahead and moving it through the legal process, make sure that everything goes ahead and goes through, dot our I's and T's. But suffice to say, we're looking at this as one massive liquidity engine between the two, and it's going to be epic. And that's all I'll say on the matter.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I'm pretty excited about the North Star as well. And I think that we should call it the North Star. And I think that in our Discord, we should bite the Minnesota North Stars logo. And I think that we should have icons for it. And I'm going to still buy a hat. They're pretty dope.
Yeah, it's better than calling it like our Hartford Whaler. Even though that's maybe that, in my opinion, like the coolest of like the old retro hockey jerseys, the Hartford Whalers logo. But that's an aside, and we've had enough of those on this call already.
Yeah, sorry for the distractions, everyone.
All right, well, if everyone there's nothing else to bring up, then we can wrap this call up. Thanks everyone who was watching the video and actually made it this far. You can see we've got a lot that we're working on. All the different teams are busy, full steam ahead. You know, even though the fantasy football season is over, we really are kind of just getting started for 2022. So there's a lot that we're going to be doing, a lot we're going to be pushing out over the next year, and really heading into football, the 2022 football season next fall.
Yeah, that was a big first year. I'm already looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, can't come fast enough.
Exactly. Too many close losses.
By the way, I just want to mention Crypto Fantasy also goes through the playoffs just like Nomo. And I'd just like to ask everybody on this call and who's watching this in the future to put their karma and goodwill towards the Buffalo Bills. And one of the benefits of doing so is that if we win, even though as a developer I have a very poor back from years of crouching, there's a good chance I'm going through a burning table. So
That'd be awesome. You're gonna film that for us?
I mean, I'm not going through a burning table without a camera, I'll tell you that.
That's pretty amazing.
Love Bills Mafia.
The Bills are one of my favorite teams in the league just because like their fans deserve it. I mean, 4 Super Bowl losses in a row. Like, I just think if you're a Bills fan, you deserve, like, it's kind of how I feel about Browns fans. Like, but I don't know. I think Bills are cool. They bought us Buffalo chicken wings. I have love for the city of Buffalo and which I've never been.
Was it the Bills who had the offensive lineman who like it might be the Browns?
Yeah,
but, like
Spencer
he showed
Brown.
up. He would show up like with his like a lunchbox, like he was showing up to like work like on the like in a factory. I really appreciate that energy.
That sounds like a Buffalo thing. It's either that or Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know what you mean though. The fans have suffered enough. Let them win one.
Yeah, I mean, they gave us chicken wings, Buffalo wings.
And the shotgun offense. No huddle.
Yeah, I like chicken wings more than both those. In fact, I'm gonna get off this call. I'm gonna go get some chicken wings.
All right. Well,
Guys, good first
with
year.
that-
I think we're all looking forward to 2022.
Totally.
yeah. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
How do I?